Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast, a place where we focus on the business side of art to help you attract more customers, increase profits, to ultimately live a life of creativity and financial freedom. I'm your host, Andrea Ehrhardt Sanders. Actually, my last name is Sanders, if anybody doesn't know, because I got married almost 5 years ago to this husband of mine that's sitting right next to me. Would you like to say hello to the audience and introduce yourself?
Hello, audience. I will actually be taking over hosting duties from Andrea Ehrhardt Sanders today. I am your official host, Ryan Sanders, and I will be asking all the tough questions that you've always wanted to ask Andrea, things you want to know about her. We are going to dive deep into her personal...
Not super deep, but...
superficially deep into the mind of Andrea Ehrhardt Sanders.
Yeah, so I posted inside our Artist Academy Facebook group questions that some of the members had about art, business, personal life, and whatnot. So Ryan's going to be reading them.
All right, so I'm going to start with the first question. I'm going to read it verbatim. This is from Lacey. First question, how do you, Andrea, handle living with someone so much more talented, smart, driven, and attractive than you?
I think she was meaning it the other way.
I'm the one reading the questions, and I'm pretty sure she's asking you.
How does he handle living with it?
I handle it well. Very well. All right, so let's get to an important one. How do you balance painting, momming, and farming life?
You sound so official. You can be relaxed if you want. You could just sound like...
I'm never relaxed. Those of you who know me, I am never relaxed.
You can be conversational. Okay, how do I handle art, momming, and farming?
You can just pay more attention and listen now.
I guess we can. I don't really talk about our farm life on the podcast, actually. So just to give you a little bit of behind the scenes of it.
How many animals do we have here?
Oh,
do you even know?
No, I can't. Here? So it started out with, we had guineas, so guinea fowl. And I raised guinea fowl from chicks when I was pregnant because I was nesting. And so we have guineas now, 6 baby guineas that are not quite full grown yet, 2 adult ones, 7, 8, 9 chickens.
We got to pump those numbers up. They're rookie numbers. I think we've got a lot of chickens.
Oh, I think they're like 9, 12. I don't know. If anybody lives on a farm, you lose chickens pretty often.
You lose animals in general. Yeah. Luckily, we haven't lost our son. That's important.
Oh, stop. Yeah. And then 2 sheep, 3 dogs now, 2 cats, 4 peacocks, 1 turkey.
Maybe 1 turkey that's temporarily lost.
Well, yeah, it's like a lot of things go missing on farms. We try our best, but yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. But I will say the farm part of this, we have worked together to make our farm just it kind of runs without us. Self-sufficient. Yeah. Unless we go out of town and we have baby chicks, then we have to have somebody come over and like get the eggs and feed and water the chicks. But that's pretty much it. Like with all those things, it's really not that much. I have like a flower garden and stuff.
You keep adding to your balance. It's you're so unbalanced. It's balanced because you just keep adding stuff all around that it just somehow stays upright.
Yep. It's just, I think just adding one thing at a time. And I think that's how the balance happens. It's just adding one thing at a time. I think before, I couldn't imagine having kids whenever I was first starting out my art business. That was whenever we first got together. Really, is I was transitioning from working Bass Pro Shops all the time to I was starting up my local business right when we got together, and you kind of helped with that.
I mean, I created you basically.
He tells everybody that. He tells everybody that he created me and that I would be nothing without him. So I just
maybe not. We'll never know.
So yeah, I think just adding to it because who asked this?
Don't look at my cheat sheet.
Taryn,
this is my cheat sheet.
Too. We do miss you, Taryn. Taryn is an Alaskan artist who she came to our first big mural meetup that we had.
She's from Alaska. Artist is a very loose term.
I know, she's great. And yeah, so we're long distance friends and we miss our Taryn.
All right, so this kind of leads into the next question. Do you feel like because you set yourself up as an artist, kind of establish your art business before kids, it was easier than doing it if you had tried to do it after kids?
Of course.
I mean, did you want that as a multiple choice question? Or
Yeah, I'm thankful for that all the time. That we both, like, you're going to be 40 this year in a couple months. And we just had our first baby who's going to be 2. My son and my husband, their birthdays are 2 days apart. So you're
I
turning.
no longer have a birthday, apparently.
No, you don't. No, it's all about him. And so, yeah, we're pretty late. Like, you're gonna be 40 something, having a second kid, maybe.
You're pretty old yourself.
Maybe.
You're very old yourself.
Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, no, without a doubt, for sure. That was really, really lucky to do that. Not to say you can't do them both. There's plenty of people do, but I would lose my mind.
All right, so let's switch it up here. If you could paint a stick figure, what would your ideal, or if you couldn't paint a stick figure, don't you look at my,
no, tell me,
stop looking at the questions.
Tell who's the question.
It may or may not be Lissa.
It's Lissa, England.
If you couldn't paint a stick figure, so AKA you can't paint, what would your ideal career be?
Baking. I would like to
one that makes money.
Oh,
what would you...
I would like to design. I would like to design food. That sound. But if I wasn't artsy.
And I apologize to the bakers out there. I'm just saying her personally baking. She just wings ingredients. Like, she's like, oh, bananas and shortening. They have the same texture. I'm sure they'll be fine to mix and match. You wing it.
Oh, yeah. He never lets me live that down. One year they were like, we had to add a bunch of shortening lard-based stuff to this. And I was like, no,
Crisco.
Let's not. Crisco, yeah. I was like, no, you can't add a cup of Crisco. Let's add a cup of bananas. It'll be the same thing. They tasted terribly.
Shocker.
Anyway, so maybe it's a good thing I'm not a baker. So I really wanted to be a pilot. And I think that's because when I was younger, everybody said, oh, Amelia Earhart. And I was like, yeah. And so I'm just going to be a pilot. So I did all my research papers on her, and we know how that ended up. And in the back of my head, I literally think I'm like, if I get a plane, I'm going to end up like her. And so I don't know. It's like a weird fear.
Yeah. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Stop. Stop.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He always...
What would your superpower be?
You know what it is.
The audience doesn't know.
It would be to fly.
Not with a plane. She wants to be able to just levitate and go places.
Yeah, that's normal. I feel like that's a normal thing to want. I dream about it all the time.
Very
And I tell them about
most kids dream of being an astronaut, a firefighter. You dream of levitating.
I would really love to fly. I think it's more because I'm just so lazy and I don't want to actually get up and go somewhere. I just want to fly there. And it's also like the height of it. It seems like fun. Okay, anyway.
All right. So if you could have any animal on the farm, what would it be and why? Let's go with one that's not currently here.
Is that a question?
It is a question.
Okay.
Stop looking at my notes.
If I could be any animal?
No. If you could have any animal on the farm, like if you could add an animal to this farm that we don't currently have, what would it be?
A cow. 100%.
No.
A cow. How cool? Like a Highland cow. How cool would that be? You just
absolutely
pet it. Yeah.
No.
Ryan's not a big fan of cows.
No, I'm trying to limit the farm.
I don't know. I have a long list. A goat, like a little pygmy goat, like the really small ones, and a pig. I would love a pig. Just like a really cute pig. There's a llama. I would really love a llama too.
So basically every other animal
I want
have on the farm.
I want a petting zoo.
All right. What invaluable skill have I taught you? There's so many. You just have to pick one.
Is that a question or are you just making
It is a
this up?
question. Very much a question.
Sales in general. I always go to you whenever I'm like, hey, should I follow up? Like I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I would go like a play-by-play of my art business with you. Like, hey, I talked to this customer. Hey, I did this. And you would just help me through the sales version of it or tell me when to shut up too. And
you made the sale. Be quiet. Let's start painting. Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't really go to you all that much for stuff. But if I get really stuck on something, I'll hey, is this, just checking in. Is this the right way to go about this? But yeah, sales in general. Just a background. So you are a salesman.
Yes.
You sell insurance.
I sold you to marriage. Haha.
Yeah.
Ultimate sale.
Ultimate. You plucked your way out of the friend zone.
Please, I kept you in the friend zone.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, we were roommates prior to even dating for 2 years. For 2 years, we just purely lived together. And then eventually I decided, okay,
I got
it's your
drunk and
time to
kissed
get.
him. Stop.
She got drafted from the minor leagues, came to the big house, and the rest is history. But nonetheless, we're going to tell our kids that, mother and I lived together for 2 years before we
Did nothing.
But yeah, we had no sexual relations.
Holier than thou.
We'll leave out the minor details. All right. What is your biggest pet peeve as a mentor?
Oh gosh. So I used to get upset whenever people would ask me the same questions over again, but I now just have it really truly have just accepted that is my job, is to answer the exact same questions over and over again. So it really does not bother me when somebody asks the same questions. Like I just assume, I used to assume that like, hey, I made a video about this, everybody's going to watch it, everybody's going to know all the details, but no, nobody wants to watch the video. Nobody. They just want to get on the virtual meetups and ask me questions there. And that's totally fine. And I'll point them to a video sometimes. But as a mentor, I would say the one thing that irks me the most is whenever people come into the academy, they do nothing and then they leave. I can tell what you're doing. I can tell that you signed in. I can tell that you pay me money and then you do nothing and then you leave. And I'm like, I'm like, help me help you. It's all there for you. Make the time. Like when people don't make time for anything, that really irks me.
Yes, I would venture to say I've heard you vent about this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I gave them the advice and then they just ignored it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What part of yourself have you had to let go in order to allow for growth as a business entrepreneur, artist /wife/mom?
Lately, I think it's just the time that I don't have anymore. I was just telling you yesterday that I had to, like, you left, you took little man to daycare, and I laid in bed for 3 hours editing video and scheduling posts, which that's something that I would normally do at night after the job. I would just, play on my phone when we were eating dinner and watching TV and stuff. And now like we have little man and I used to think that I think being a mom has made me such a better coach, because when artists like Taryn and everybody who's come to me like, I have no time in the day, I'm like, just set your kid up to do something. That way you can paint. That does not happen, especially for moms. I'm so jealous of you men, because I can't do anything with him around. Like our almost two-year-old, he requires my full attention. And if I try to do something else, he's like, no, mom, like drags me. He doesn't let me sit. He pulls me up. And if I have my iPad out, he wants to play on it and will likely break it. And I can get nothing done. So I think just like having to structure during the day, this is my go time of work. And then at night, I just forget about it. No, there is no work getting done. So having to let go of being a workaholic is one of the hardest things. Because I was a workaholic for the entire time that we have been dating. I worked all the time, which is like you'd go off and do stuff like go to the gym or go to lunch with people or watch Netflix at night. And I was like, I don't have time for that. I need to work.
Dave and I would go bowling, drink some beers, have a good time.
Yeah. And I would stay home and paint or stay home and do stuff on, like, I was a workaholic. So I just like having to give that up was the weirdest thing. Really, it's probably for the better.
Look at you now.
Oh yeah.
All right. What are some things you've done that 10, 11 years ago, you would have never in a million years thought you would have done?
So like before I was part-time, back then I had this idea that I had the starving artist mentality, that I couldn't make really good money being an artist. I wanted to, and I was trying, but I just really, truly didn't believe it. And so nowadays, I'd say if you told me back then that I had just gotten a $15,000 commission to do a mural that's going to take me less than a week, like I would just be baffled that the amount that you can make with murals, especially right now going through a mural boom and all of that, it just blows my mind. I mean, that and like writing a book and like having so many amazing opportunities with big name brands like Bass Pro and Sony and O'Reilly and just all the things. And
married to me, of course.
Oh yeah. Of course. That is, yes.
At least you're humble about it, babe. At least you're humble about it. All right. So what's a secret goal that you've had for a while that you can debut in this interview?
Well, I used to always tell you, like, especially when I first got started, right after I got momentum and started making, 100,000 and then going up and more. And I was like, I'm going to make more than you. I've always said that.
So cute.
He's like,
I love when Skylar tells me his goals and dreams too.
I was dead set on it. And then you made partner with your company, and it's a lot harder now. So I was like, ooh, that'd be a lot harder. But then we also had a baby. And there's a lot more work and hormones required for me in that area. Not saying that I might.
Don't give yourself some excuses.
I'm serious.
I hope you do. I'll just retire and hunt.
One day I might. I'm going to be working up toward really. So what I would like to do, one thing that's kind of in the back of my mind.
Find someone who supports your dreams.
Shut up. I love the idea of being a jack of all trades. And so I've always had that goal of like having that $100,000, mural business. But then I was like, okay, well, what else can I do? And I was like, oh, I want to mentor artists, right? And I was like, I really would love for it to be 50-50. So I work part-time on that. And now this year I'll probably hit that of like making $100,000 with the Academy and 100 with murals around there. A goal that it's been in the back of my head a long time is just, I would love to figure out a way to make $100,000 in a different area, which is something around prints, resale, like books, something. And I know there's a lot more volume needed there, but merchandising. Yeah. I think so I would not be surprised if in the future and now I steer more towards printing things, like making something once and figuring out 10 different ways to profit off of it and not having to paint all the time. That might be my next $100,000 business move while also maintaining these other two. Like I like the idea of doing the jack of all trades thing and trying something new. I get bored with just one thing.
Now, one of your big things is talking about that saying, that quote, that jack of all trades.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to finish that for those who don't know the full meaning of that saying?
Yeah. So what is it? A jack of all trades is a master of none, but sometimes better than a master of one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I had never known that.
Sometimes better? But
I think it's still better.
But oftentimes better than a master of one. Yeah. And I'm slowly becoming more okay with being a jack of all trades and not having just a one, because there is such a benefit to mastering one thing and keeping in your lane, but I just get bored. And I think that's the thing.
I sell insurance, and I've always preached to our sales guys, specialize in something. Have something that you are really, really, really good at, because it will set you apart. But also at the same time, be able to be flexible enough to accommodate anyone, to write anything, to do other things. Because if you're so strict about what you're wanting to do, you'll have blinders and miss opportunities for things that come along that aren't in that specialty.
Yeah. So for instance, you are in the specialty of, nobody would guess this. It's not the sexiest thing. It's like you're in the specialty of,
Are you kidding me? Have you seen my outfit that I go into work with?
I mean, nursing homes are kind of sexy in a way. So he specializes in nursing homes. So he sells insurance to nursing homes. But you also insure so many other businesses, but nursing homes is your bread and butter. Kind of like murals are my bread and butter. Really, logos started out being my bread and butter. I can do other things. But people seek me out for the logos and murals. And yeah, so I just need to figure out something with the reprinting thing.
You've reprinted some murals before.
So
tough, but it's possible.
I like wallpaper. I've been saying that for a while. Something.
All right. So if you could only paint one more mural in your lifetime, what would it be and where would it be?
So there's this wall downtown Springfield that I pitched to them before, and they said no. It's right out this.
Which one is this?
The Papa's Pizza, right? It's so when you're going into the Vandervoort, and it's right next to it. It looks gross, and like you can see it inside the Vandervoort. Anyway, it just has.
Oh, I know that alley.
That alley,
Gotcha.
Yeah. I would do rainbows and butterflies and clouds on that one.
So you would choose an alley.
Yes.
In Springfield, Missouri for your last mural.
Yeah, why not? I'd get to stay home.
Well, at least we get cancer. We don't have to travel far.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here. Just wheel you down there and let you doodle. All right. So that's pretty much the questions from the audience here.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep. So we did that one. Yep. We did that one.
Okay. Do you have questions?
Do I have questions? No, I already know everything about you.
I know, yeah. So
let's hit some highlights about you as a person. What is your favorite country that you've traveled? Because you've traveled to a lot of countries. How many countries do you think you've been to?
I don't know. You ask me this quite often, and I'm like 40 something. I don't know, 40 something.
Yeah, late 40 something. What is your favorite country that you've been to? I already know the answer to this, but
why does this have, this is not
why are you asking me questions that the audience? There you go. What if I said the audience?
Thailand is my favorite country. We got engaged in Thailand, and I don't know. I just love it. It's like, it's dirty and smelly and it's tropical. And
you're really selling the audience on going to Thailand.
It's cheap. The food is really great. Like, I just had fried rice for lunch today. So I love that kind of thing. Yeah, it's just so different. I know it's like, whenever I'm traveling, I was telling Ryan a while ago, I'm like, it's getting harder to impress myself. Because you go somewhere and you go completely out of your normal, and that's what I want, right? That's the reason to go, is just to figure out a new culture and just be a little shocked. And I remember the first time I went to Asia, I was shocked. Flying into Bangkok, I was like, wow, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. And just traveling around Thailand for a month, and then we went back and did it slightly differently. The first time I stayed in hostels and met travelers along the way, and like the second time we went and it was an insurance trip, though. You won an insurance trip, and we got the 5-star treatment, and that was very different.
We still went to some sketchy places in Bangkok.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
You have to experience the culture. Why
you have to go to a ping pong show.
Yes, you do. Oh, some people are going to Google this, and they're going to be shocked.
Google what a ping pong show is. You will be appalled to know that I got hit by the ping pong ball and just screamed like a little girl. Yeah, travel stories. Yeah.
So when do you want to retire? What age do you have in your mind?
Retire?
Yeah, let's go. Let's hit it all.
We've never talked about
You're pretty
this.
old right now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you're 35.
So I think I'll be doing murals when I'm in my 60s, probably less in my 70s. I know this because I've talked to artists who are in their 60s and some in their 70s doing murals. And it's a lot harder on them than it is me currently, but it's capable. They're capable. I just think I'll just be a lot more choosy with murals. But murals is mainly the thing that I think about retiring from. Everything else is, I'm going to be drawing until I die. I want to make a children's book, like one every year or something for the next while.
Sure.
Don't look at me like that.
How many books do you currently have partially done?
Hey, one.
Oh, you
What are the other ones? I have ideas for other ones, like Peter the Peacock. We have a peacock named Peter, and he's pretty great. He looks for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah. And you've got one with the zebra, and then you've got...
No, the zebra is the one.
Okay, what about the coloring book?
I haven't started that yet.
Oh, you lie.
I started a little bit of it.
Actually, 2 coloring books.
That one's gonna be done in like a couple days.
Yeah, what about the coloring book you started like 5 years ago?
What's coloring book?
The one that we gave to Big Brothers Big Sisters, like the samples to start working on.
That wasn't a coloring book. That was a step-by-step.
Step-by-step coloring book?
No, it wasn't a coloring book. It was a step-by-step how to paint book. And I did a lot of the work for it. And then I just fizzled out on it because I realized I am not that big on teaching people to paint. I really love the business side of it. And then I switched and I started and finished the Mural Money book. And that was what I was meant to do, really. I think sometimes I just start things and then you realize it's not the thing. And then.
So you went from, I only have 1 to I have 4.
Whatever. Partially. One finished. That was the hardest one. It's going to be a long time before I create another book like Mural Money. That was a lot of work. A lot.
Yeah, you worked on that one. How long did it take you to write that book? How many hours do you think you put?
6 months, but it was a lot of hours. And because it ended up being a really big book. Okay, I feel like my next book is going to be in about 10 years. And it's going to be over the subject of making $100,000 in your art business in a variety of ways. That's why because I'm doing the jack of all trades thing. And I'm also going to interview in that, other people who are doing it in certain ways, but and uncover like the step-by-step of each thing. And also uncover what you it's really interesting to think like, yeah, I want to do this. Like I want to do murals, or I want to do prints, or I want to do a coaching business or something. But it's like, what are you actually doing? What are the things? And I realized with having a coaching business, what I'm actually doing is you have to be good at making video, lots of video, being super transparent about everything, recording the process, and answering questions over and over and over again. That's actually what I'm doing. I'm a mentor coach, but what I'm actually doing is just recording everything I'm doing and then answering questions over and over again. It's like whenever you're doing prints, right? It's like, what are you actually doing? A lot of it's shipping. You're actually shipping.
And color correcting.
Yes, you're actually, making sure it's printing correctly. And things like with murals, what are you actually doing? You're going out to project at night. You're on ladders. You're on all these different surfaces. It's not just painting. It's just like certain things. Like I want to write another book in 10 years uncovering what exactly the tasks are that you'll be doing, so I can line it out for people. Like, do you actually want to do this? Because it sounds good making $100,000 doing this and that, but what are the actual tasks?
All right. So let's hear your thoughts on, for those of you who don't know, Andrea is the big sister of the year for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Ozarks. And how long have you been a mentor, a personal mentor to your little?
I think we're coming on 6 years. So McKenna and I so McKenna is my little with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, meaning they match you with a kid who has a hardship of some kind. They don't necessarily specify. Some live in poverty, some have only one parent, some have a variety of different things. And so we were matched almost 6 years ago, and we've just been hanging out ever since. So I just take her out to do things. And, to me, in my head, I'm like, I was just taking her out to do things. So we would just talk for like, I don't know, an hour or two each week. And then I met with her mom. We did our interview because they chose us to be the big and little of the year. And we're going to go do a live painting at the event and everything. But I was talking to her mom, and she was like, no, it was way more than that. So her brother had autism or something. And so she was having to spend a lot of time not with McKenna. And so she was like, it just made me feel a lot better that you were coming to take her to actually do something on some days where I didn't even speak to her. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, it was making a difference. Like, anyway.
Another thing to balance.
Yes, another thing to balance. Yeah, I don't think I will take on another. So she's about to turn 16, and they phase out at 18.
18,
yeah. And so your little is
16 as well.
16.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had mine for 8 years now, I think.
Yeah, a long time. And so I don't think I'll get another one just because we have a kid now. But it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
So.
Shameless plug for Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Oh,
they're everywhere.
He's on the board of Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So it is great. It is a great mentorship program. And Ryan is definitely the one who got me into it. And yeah. So.
All right, let's hit some lighthearted stuff.
Okay, let's do one more.
Quick, one-hit answers. What is your favorite color?
Pink.
I mean, clearly. Yeah, how many gallons of pink paint do you think you have right now?
A lot.
How many?
I don't know. Like
30 gallons?
No, why would I have 30 gallons?
How many of those
paint?
5-gallon jugs of pink paint do you have?
Not that much. I have 1 5-gallon and then like a couple smaller ones.
Okay.
Having the right pink is essential.
Okay. Have the right pink. There's just pink.
You are not an artist.
All right.
Pink is not.
So let's go with the dance in the rain, feel no pain.
What?
That's the same. Would you rather dance in the rain or feel no pain?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
It's just a question. What would you rather do?
I don't know what that means.
Would you rather dance in the rain or would you rather feel no pain?
What's bad about dancing in the rain?
I don't know. You tell me. Which would you rather have?
I don't understand.
That is the question.
I don't want to.
That is the question.
Feel no pain.
There you go. Although, then you'll hit a stove that's hot and you'll burn yourself and you won't know because...
I don't understand what you're
well,
thinking.
There you go.
Anyway, okay, this is clearly... We're done. Okay. All right, thank you for tuning in. And I'd say Ryan does not want... So he's really a personality. I always tell him that he would have a great YouTube, but he's not big on social media. So I don't go follow him.
You keep telling me I have a face for radio.
So yeah, he's going to go back into the behind,
I will come back and host anytime you like.
Okay. Maybe in another 5 years or something. Okay. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Artist Academy podcast. hopefully this was entertaining, if anything, or you got something from it. Hopefully. Let me know, and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Artist Academy podcast. If you like this art and business talk in audio form, then I want to invite you to get my book. It's called Mural Money: How to Grow Your Art Business from Zero to Six Figures. So starting from the very bottom, like you don't even have a website yet. You have nothing. You're not sure where to go, and you want to make money with a paintbrush. You want to have your creativity pay the bills. I have taken so much of the advice that I've gotten from artists from this podcast. I've been doing one episode for over 5 years now. So many interviews, so many good bits of advice. So I've taken the best of that advice and put it in my book, along with so many stories and lessons learned that I've had in my own mural career of just how I would go back and save a whole lot of time if I just knew these steps. This is a 15-hour audiobook, and so if you like this podcast, if you're listening to interview after interview, I know that you're going to like the book. So go to muralmoney.com. It's for anybody who wants to grow their art business with a paintbrush. Muralmoney.com, and I will see you next week for another episode of the Artist Academy podcast.